Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. This is the City of Buckeye regular council meeting for December 16th, 2025. We will begin tonight with the invocation led by Pastor Rick Wiles, First Southern Baptist Church, followed by the pledge led by Council Member Eustace. Would you please stand?
Shall we pray? Father God, we do come before you, and we ask that everything that takes place tonight will be done with the utmost respect and dignity for all involved. That decisions that are made will be made on the behalf of the city and the best interest of all of us that are members of this community. Lead, guide, and direct our council and city staff and the all entities involved. In Jesus' name, amen.
Would you join me, please, in our Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you both. Can we have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Yonker.
Here.
Councilmember Berry.
Here.
Councilmember Hegestad is absent. Councilmember Beard.
Present.
Councilmember Eustace.
here.
Vice Mayor Goodman.
Present.
Mayor Osborne.
Present. Thank you very much. Item number 2 is comments from the public. Members of the audience may comment on any non-agenda item of interest. I've got many speaker request cards for specific items 5B. We'll get to those in 5B. Do we have any public comment cards, general?
There are no general comment cards.
Okay, thank you. Item 3, we have no awards, presentations, and proclamations tonight. Item number 4 is consent agenda items and new business. Approval of items on the consent agenda, all items with an asterisk, are considered to be routine matters to be enacted by one motion and vote of the City Council. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member requests. The section may include the approval of minutes from previous meetings. Council, for the consent agenda, what is your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve consent agenda items 4A as in Adam through 4I as in Ida.
Second.
I have a motion for approval of the consent agenda and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. And opposed? And the consent agenda passes unanimous. Item 5A, council to hold a public hearing and take action on ordinance number 29-25, amending the zoning map of the City of Buckeye for approximately 0.75 acres generally located at the southeast corner of 5th Street and East Mahoney Avenue from planned residential to downtown residential DR. And Patricia, you're presenting.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. I am Trish Cooley, a Planner 2, and tonight I have before you case PLZZ-25-0008, the 501 East Mahoney Street rezone. The applicant for this project is Amber Newbill on behalf of the owner Rigoberto Mendez. The applicant is requesting to rezone approximately 0.75 acres from an obsolete zoning district planned residential to downtown residential to accommodate the use of the property as a daycare facility. The site is located at the southeast corner of South 5th Street and East Mahoney Avenue in downtown Buckeye. The building on site was previously used as a church. The surrounding area is primarily residential with a vacant parcel on that south side. The general plan designation is Historic Downtown Buckeye Activity Centers, shown in purple there. The Associated Downtown Specific Area Plan, or DSAP, provides a more detailed future planning guide for this activity center. The DSAP assigns a future land use category of downtown residential to this site, indicated by that tan color, which is intended to accommodate a variety of residential and select commercial uses. The downtown residential zoning district is consistent with this DSAP future land use category. The existing planned residential zoning district is an obsolete zoning district that the city is phasing out. The proposed zoning district downtown residential is a mixed-use type of district that allows for a variety of residential uses as well as select commercial uses. To be eligible for downtown residential zoning, a property must be located in the downtown activity center and be designated downtown residential by the DSAP. The applicant has completed all required public participation requirements. One neighbor did attend the neighborhood meeting expressing concerns regarding the effect this rezoning would have on her property and her property taxes. And staff has received one phone call from someone interested in purchasing the property. If approved tonight, the site is anticipated to be developed as a child care facility using the existing building. Emergency services are anticipated to be serviced by the city fire and police departments. And with that, the staff recommendation is to conduct a public hearing and approve PLZ Z-25-0008 for the following reasons. It furthers the goals of the Buckeye General Plan, the Downtown Specific Area Plan, and contributes to a vibrant pedestrian community with uses appropriate to the historic downtown residential neighborhood. It conforms to the Buckeye Development Code, and there are no outstanding issues from reviewing departments. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. I also have, I believe, Amber Newbell online, the applicant.
Okay, thank you. Let's start with a public hearing first for item 5A. We'll open a public hearing. Are there any speaker request cards for 5A?
No speaker requests.
None. We will then close the public hearing. Council questions? Councilmember Eustace.
Yes, ma'am. I was down there yesterday and looking at the property. They used to have a garden on that east side behind the building there, behind the church. And at the present time, it's a mixture of grass and dirt. Do they or have you heard what they plan on doing with that? If that's going to be the playground area, are they going to asphalt it? Are they going to make it just a dirt lot? I mean, what are their intentions for that area for children?
Thank you, Councilman. Mayor, members of the council. So on the east side of that building, about 25% of that vacant portion is going to be fenced in and a playground provided. Amber, are you online? If you could, I believe there's going to be artificial turf. I don't.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
here online.
Can you answer?
Yes. Yeah, so the playground area will consist mainly of artificial turf, some native plants, and then the rest of the property later down the road would be developed for more use, but right now it's just going to be the playground area. No playground structures, though.
And you're going to cover up that dirt area?
Councilman Eustace, the applicant anticipates developing that portion of the site at a later date. So it'll be a phased development. So currently there are no plans for that specific. On the south side, is that what you're talking about, council member?
Yeah, is that, all right. And that's all the limited space they're going to have for children to play on? Is that correct? I mean, how many children do they plan on having? What's their maximum intent for children at that location?
Amber, do you have that answer?
Yes, it will be licensed for anywhere from 59 to a maximum of 65.
And they're going to play on half of that lot? Is that what you're saying?
Correct. The requirements for state would be about 2,300 square feet of outdoor play space. I'm planning on utilizing at least 3,000 square feet for them.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions on this item? All right, I'm seeing none. Council, item 5A, what is your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we do approve agenda item 5A as an item.
I'll second.
I have a motion for approval of 5A and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5A passes unanimous. Thank you. On to item 5B, council to hold a public hearing and take action on ordinance number 31-25, extending and increasing the corporate limits of the city of Buckeye, Maricopa County, state of Arizona, pursuant to the provisions of Title 9, Chapter 4, Article 7, Arizona revised statutes and amendments thereto by annexing approximately 1.86 acres generally located at the southeast corner of Tut Hill Road and Yuma. And you're not Mandy Woods.
I'm not. Mayor, Mandy sends her regrets. She is at one of her daughter's Christmas concerts tonight. So
Okay, that's a good excuse.
for this annexation. So this is an annexation for Mountain View South, case PLZM 250044. The applicant is David Hughes with EPS Group on behalf of the LLC that owns the property and plans on developing the adjacent property with a single-family community called Mountain Views South. The location, I'll show you some maps here in just a second, is the southeast corner of Tut Hill Road and Yuma Road. The request is quite simple, straightforward tonight, an annexation of two parcels totaling just under 1.9 acres. So you can see the red, if you follow my mouse, strip parcels here along the Tut Hill Road alignment. This is Yuma Road to orient yourself, and Blue Horizons to the northeast. The parcels are abutted on the west side by existing single-family residential within the county, large rural lot residential. On the east side of the Tut Hill Road alignment is the future Mountain View South single-family subdivision. It's a single-family traditional lot subdivision, 4.4 dwelling units per acre, kind of your typical suburban density is what's proposed there. These parcels are currently in the county. These strips, the rest of the property to the east is already annexed. So what the annexation of these parcels would allow for is the construction of Tut Hill Road within the city jurisdiction, as opposed to currently the street would be constructed within the county jurisdiction. Almost irrelevant for a request like this, but the land use is neighborhood, which of course allows for a range of residential uses, single family, multifamily as well. And the zoning is in the county currently rural 43. It would come in as rural single-family residential 43 within the city. Because its future use is going to be as a street, there is no future rezoning that is anticipated. This is the second public hearing where the council will consider approval of the annexation this evening. As discussed at the prior meeting, the request does meet all of the eligibility requirements established by the state. All of the technical procedure has been followed, noticing, et cetera. We have received opposition as of 4 o'clock. I'm not sure if anything came in after that, but as of 4 o'clock from 14 people that are opposed to this annexation. I would just generally summarize that opposition to the future connection of Tut Hill north to Yuma Road, so connecting where it currently stops south of the canal up to Tut Hill, with the thought that it would negatively impact the county residential to the west there. Some other concerns just with the overall development that's proposed, the Mountain View South subdivision, but I just want to be clear that is already zoned, already approved, platted, et cetera. So that's not kind of the topic tonight. The topic is the annexation of this right-of-way. So we do recommend conducting a public hearing and adopting this ordinance 31-25. I just do want to be clear that Tut Hill is shown in the city's master transportation plan, has been for quite some time, and the intent was always for it to connect from where it currently dead ends up to Yuma and then actually continue northward before it kind of curves west and connects to Van Buren.
Okay, thank you, Ken. Can I just ask a question before we get into the public hearing portion of this? Why was this not included in the annexation previously with the rest of the parcel?
Actually don't have that answer, Mayor. I'm not sure if anybody knows that answer. No, doesn't look like it.
Mystery. Okay,
Probably was an oversight.
okay. I remember during the other process talking about what that roadway looked like, where the center line was. There was a lot of conversation about it. But I don't remember the reasons for, I guess, the sort of split annexation here.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we'll start then with the public hearing portion. I'm going to open the public hearing. I've got speaker request cards, non-speaker comments from Andrea, I think it's Courtney, Ralph, Johnny, James, and Robert. So we have those as part of the record. And we have comments. I'll call you up one at a time, and you have 3 minutes to make comments. First is Nicholas Kozad. And you can come on up. So the process is you come up here into this little bullpen area. There's a microphone that'll catch you there. And then the green light is go. Yellow means you have 30 seconds left. And then red is you've met your 3 minutes.
Okay. I gotta wait for the turn.
No, you could go ahead and they'll start it when you start. Yeah.
So, don't have a lot of time to talk, so I just want to talk mainly on the history of the area and why we're all sitting here. And we're a long-time group of, we've lived together there for, lots of people in this room have been here for 50 years, 40 years, 30 years. We're very, very long-term residents of Buckeye. And we've been encroached on for a long time, and we put up with it. We put up with, lack of better words, but crackheads that have came in with the communities, and they come into our neighborhood, they're into our streets, our streets aren't streets. They're private driveways that were once the farm road. It was the canal road that you would take to throw all the pipes out and irrigate your land, So these areas, because the houses are there, they've all been funneled into our area, and it's made it to where it's a nightmare, Not to mention that if you add the end to Yuma there, it's going to create another dynamic of people just turning off of Yuma and booking it down Tut Hill and then trying to come up our little dirt path, private driveways to get around traffic. We already have that problem bad. We understand the city has a problem with it being a congested area and stuff, but it needs to have some better planning put into it to where that community's traffic isn't just being funneled right into our farms. We have horses and cows and, everything. I can go out on my front driveway, what you guys might call a road, what, the city might call a road, because if you look at the satellite image, it looks great. It's a straight line, we're looking at straight lines on paper, but when you get out there and walk on the dirt, it's a whole nother, it's our life. It's where we've grown up, we've raised our kids, generationally grown up and raised our kids. It means the world to us to not have more traffic. It just keeps worse. Like at one time, we would have, before we closed our gates, because we had to close our gates because the traffic once they built the Blue Horizon communities and stuff, it all just funnels into us. Anytime there's a problem or an accident, it comes in all right into our neighborhood. Hilton is right there down the road. That's a 25 mile an hour per hour, speed limit there. People go 60 miles an hour down that road, and then they book it trying to come down ours, and they dead end because it's a dirt road. But it's craziness, So we need to have some thought on where that road is and where their easement is going to be, not just directly piling off of Yuma into our neighborhood. That's going to be horrible. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Nicholas. Next is Lindy Koger.
No, where's the speaker? Because I want to make sure I am heard.
Right there. Here, I can hear you fine.
Me? Can you guys out there hear me? Okay. My husband, Bruce Koger, and myself were and have been Arizona residents since the summer of 1945. Bruce moved to Buckeye in 1978, then went to be with the Lord on Memorial Day of 2022. So I am speaking in his and my behalf. I am an 82-year-old woman with some 37 years of actual eyewitness accounts of the many facets and multiple uses of Tuthill Road, which intersects at my driveway, and the adjacent RID Canal, which runs parallel to the back of my property. So I see all the things that go on in those two things, the kids running from school where they do their track stuff, all the horseback riding, all the bike riding, the kids going to and from school. First and foremost, I am not against Blue Horizons developing their land. However, I am against the town of Buckeye and Maricopa County working in conjunction with Blue Horizon to incorporate the dead-end since inception Tuthill Road as a thoroughfare transient highway for their convenience and for the convenience of future developments. It appears Buckeye wants to continue to display its allure of a facade now by keeping the tradition of the Hellzapoppin days, yet destroy the very lifestyle of the many honorable people that helped build it. Totally disrupting the existing constituents' decades-old Buckeye Valley established rural horse property community and its unique way of life. Fully knowing that to move forward on the proposed expansion of Tuthill Road with its inherent dangerous conditions that it will bring, it is now imperative that a feasible and a viable alternative must be achieved for the safety and benefit of all. Do any of you not understand you have a moral and ethical responsibility with your decision in this?
Thank you, Lindy. Up next is,
Leolyn Koger.
I'm sorry?
Leolyn Koger.
Okay. It had Lindy in parentheses.
Well, that's my nickname.
Okay. Leolyn. Thank you.
Koger, Lindy.
Christine,
You get to keep your homes, and they stay nice.
thank you. Christine.
Hello, my name is Christine Dumpert, and I am a property owner, directly impacted by this proposal. I'm here tonight to formally oppose this annexation. While it's described as a small 1.86 acre request, its true purpose to dedicate and improve Tuthill Road to serve a 601 home subdivision. This is not a minor action. It's a decision that will permanently change traffic, land use, and rural character of this area. The area south of Yuma Road has long been rural residential. People live here because of limited access points, agricultural uses, low traffic, and dark sky conditions. Connecting Tuthill to Yuma Road through annexation would turn a quiet rural road into a cut-through for traffic. This would bring higher vehicle speeds, increased noise, intrusive street lighting, and new safety and security concerns for existing residents. Beyond traffic impacts, this proposal will significantly increase light pollution. New streetlights, subdivision lighting, and increased nighttime activity will disrupt an area that has long relied on minimal lighting. Buckeye's general plan emphasizes protecting rural character, environmental quality, and overall quality of life as development occurs in rural and transitional areas. Increased lighting associated with this annexation will negatively affect nearby residents, agricultural uses, livestock, and nighttime conditions that have long defined this area, let me say this again, and nighttime conditions that have long defined this area. These impacts conflict with the established rural character that the general plan seeks to manage and protect. Other Arizona cities, including Gilbert, have addressed this issue by maintaining separation between rural neighborhoods and tract home developments by restricting roadway connections to emergency access only through locked gates. This approach protects public safety while preserving rural communities and avoiding unnecessary lighting impacts. For these reasons, Tuthill Road south of Yuma Road should be limited to gated fire and emergency access only, with no general vehicle connection to the Mountain View South development or to Yuma Road.
There's a little bit more time if you have more. Yeah.
Okay.
Go on. You're on a roll.
And I know there were some additional things that have come through, he said this afternoon, but I just want to emphasize that even though they said there were, at the first meeting, there weren't a lot of concerns, that doesn't mean there's a lack of impact. Many of the residents were not even aware of this annexation until recently. So just so you know, that silence should not be mistaken for support. And then I urge you to deny this annexation, and I'll finish it with growth should not come at the expense of the established rural communities.
Thank you, Christine. Deborah? Deborah?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. My name is Deborah Dumpert. My husband and I have lived in Buckeye for over 40 years. Our children and grandchildren were raised here, school, everything. We've done parades, we've done everything. We've supported this city, invested in it, and believed in its commitment to protecting our established neighborhoods. It is a sad day when the city you lived in and supported has turned its back on you and all you've worked for. We have voiced our opposition to this Tuthill Road expansion since March 7th, 2017. You're all aware of that. At the second Planning and Zoning meeting, this issue is not new and has never been adequately resolved. We reject the Tuthill annexation because it will open Tuthill Road to a massive amount of traffic, fundamentally changing our quiet rural area to very busy arterial street. And it is unnecessary for the Mountain View's development. Buckeye Planning and Zoning has said this Tuthill Road will have minimal impact on us. On their plans, the developer has it down as a street collector. Planning and Zoning said it would be an arterial street. Buckeye's description of the two is vastly different. According to the Buckeye Development Code, a collector street is designed to carry between 400 and 800 trips a day. An arterial street is expected to or does carry 8,000 vehicle trips a day. An arterial road has 4 lanes with a turn lane and a median. Either a collector or arterial road is too much for a rural community. Once annexed on the cover sheet, it says the parcels will be included within the proposed Mountain View single-family residential development and subsequently dedicated and improved as right-of-way for Tuthill Road to serve existing and future residential and commercial users in the area. Subsequently dedicated means after 2 years, the road will be turned over to Buckeye. The future residential and commercial users that was stated in the action report looks like it's going to come from the Grandview master planned community that's in the stages of being annexed. It is north and south boundaries are from Broadway Road to MC 885, and east and west boundaries are from Jackrabbit Trail to Dean. It's 2,271 acres. When approved, it will have residential houses, businesses, and warehouses. That is going to greatly increase the traffic on Tuthill if it is connected to Yuma and the Tuthill Road behind Blue Horizons. The Tuthill Road entrance to the Mountain View to South development is completely unnecessary and will save the new owner, Nico Howard, millions of dollars by not having to build his part of the road and bridge to connect to Yuma Road. Previous owners said they were having to spend a lot of money. We paid a transportation engineering solutions engineer to look over the development. And he said, based on the number of accesses provided by the total traffic generated by the development, the site plan can be redrawn to eliminate the access on Tut Hill Road and traffic redirected to accesses on Cocopah and Pomo. He said if you took and moved it over to Apache, it would make a straight through to cut back to the things, to the back where the fire is mostly concerned about. We had a meeting, we filed our appeal. We've had a meeting on March 28th. City Buckeye officials, fire department, and 2 previous owners, engineers, and Mountain View engineers. We tried to reach a solution. And when we said, is there any other way we can get around this? The engineers said, well, we could. And George Flores, who is the Buckeye Development Services, said he didn't care what was decided. He said the ultimate decision was his, and he was going to veto anything that was decided. He said this was his only chance to get the road and bridge.
Pardon me, Mayor, the speaker's exceeded her time limit. So.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Attorney. I was just going to remind you of that. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Next up is Ari Van Hofwegen. Sir.
My name is Ari Van Hofwegen. I'm a dairy farmer. My wife's here. Live on a house right there in the corner, right adjacent to this roadway. I'm a dairy farmer, so speaking in front of professionals is not my thing, so bear with me. But I wanted to kind of tell you my story. My wife and I host small group on Sunday afternoons right after church, and it just happened to be this last weekend. We had a new couple show up to our small group, and when the gentleman, the husband, walked up, he shook my hand and goes, "Wow, this does not look like Arizona." I was like, "What do you mean?" He said, "This looks like Texas or the Midwest." I was like, what specifically does that mean? He said, the rural roadway, the animals, the grazing. I said, "Interesting. We have a meeting on Tuesday to talk about the future of Tut Hill and what that looks like for our community." Tut Hill's a 2-lane road. They described it. It's the road my kids ride bikes on. We don't have sidewalks. We ride on the county road. There's only a few cars on the road. It's just the neighbors going to and from their homes. It's the road that our neighbor's daughter, when she wants to ride her horse, she rides up on the dirt shoulder. She goes up to RID Canal, turns, and comes down my property line. It's the road when I take my boys out to Home Depot, I think it was 2 years ago. A Saturday morning, we come up upon a bunch of goats loose, and we stop. All 3 of my boys jump out. All the neighbors are already there. We're corralling the goats back into the pen. And if you know goats, that's no easy task. Can you imagine 4,000 cars coming down that roadway? What would happen if that happened? It's the same roadway on a Saturday evening after church. We're coming home late at night, tired. There's a white-faced, I think it's a steer loose, eating grass right on the edge of Tut Hill, just right there on that red line. We don't just zoom by because we're too busy. We stop and get out. My 3 boys get out. My wife backs the car up for lighting. It's dark out there. We don't need the lights. And we get the cow, put back, I think it's a steer, move back into the gate, close the gate. That's what we do. I'm describing normal Buckeye stuff. You guys are all from Buckeye. That's what you do in Buckeye. That's what makes Buckeye amazing. That's why so many new people want to move into Buckeye. Like she said, they want to be a part of Glow and Monroe. It's because what we have here is the rural benefit. It's the original great thing about Buckeye. And this proposal is going to create a massive divide across our community. It's a hazard. You wouldn't expect Blue Horizons or a really well-designed community to have a roadway that cuts right through it. If you did that, you would divide the whole community. That's what you guys are proposing to do to our community. It's really important that you understand what's at risk. We want to preserve what makes Buckeye Buckeye. We're asking you to vote in this matter in a way that protects and preserves what makes Buckeye Buckeye so we can share something with the new residents that join our community. If we lose what makes Buckeye Buckeye, there's no point. We lose it all. So please vote to protect Buckeye. I told my friend, I said, "You're not in Texas, you're in Buckeye, Arizona." He said, "Wow, this is great." I said, and I'm asking you guys today, vote to protect the wow, vote to protect what makes Buckeye Buckeye. Thank you.
Thank you, Ari. Shayla Van Hofwegen. I'm good. Okay. You don't want to follow that. Yeah. Gary Mayfield.
I'm Gary Mayfield. Thank you, council, for hearing our concerns as a community. I have also been here for 50 years myself, moved here from Tolleson when I was a kid. And so, I do want to just say a couple of things. And I do own property there. I'm going to build a house on Tut Hill personally. I live down the road on Broadway, but I do believe that Blue Horizons is a good fit for our community where it currently is. I mean, it's a great community just north. My daughter lived there and son-in-law, and I think it is a good community. But if this proposal was for like homes, 1 acre proposal or something like that, I would be all for that. But, the area around is all 1 acre plus. Most of it's all 5 acre, even 10 acre parcels. This deal just does not fit. This is high density homes are going to create a traffic challenge that this rural area was just not designed for, quite frankly. I remember it as a dirt road. The current road used, some have said, is by significant amount of pedestrian traffic, such as kids, pets. In the mornings, the evenings, people are walking. We ride our horses down Tut Hill Road all the time. Obviously, this is not going to happen. I mean, we can't do that in Blue Horizons, I don't suppose, but we certainly can do it in our community. Lower Buckeye Road is already backed up many mornings and evenings from Tut Hill to Verrado. I mean, everybody's just trying to get around in the area. So by with this new road, it would just it just mitigate any of it really doesn't mitigate the current traffic pattern challenge at all, because we're already backed up from Lower Buckeye to Verrado every morning and every evening. We would like to ask the council to say no to this proposal and encourage the developer to come up with a less intrusive plan for the rural neighborhood on Tut Hill Road. Last, I am surprised that we are bringing this to you as a council, quite frankly. I thought we would probably be bringing it to planning and zoning first. So as a community here, I think there seems to be something that either we missed or a step that was not taken. It's apparent because we're coming to you guys. We probably should have been meeting with planning and zoning prior to it. So I'm against it, guys. I don't think it's a good idea by any means. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayfield. Okay, that's all the speaker request cards I have up here. Do we have any others?
No additional?
Okay. Anybody else from the public wishing to speak? I'm seeing none. I will close the public hearing. We'll go to council questions and comments. Councilman Hustis, we'll start with you.
I believe a while back I was with Planning and Zoning as a liaison, and I believe this did come before us in Planning and Zoning. Now, with that being said, I do have a couple of questions for you, sir. Is there access to this property from Yuma Road?
Yes,
How many access points?
I believe 2.
And this road, currently, if the pictures I took this morning are correct, they're on the east side of the concrete block wall. Is that correct? There's a concrete block wall and there's a wooden fence about 10 feet away, 8 or 10 feet away, further to the east. And then a little bit further to the east of that, maybe 10 or 15 feet, is a dirt road path that I would assume is considered to be what Tut Hill Road is on that south side. Is that correct?
Councilmember,
Block walls on that parcel.
Councilmember, yeah. So the block walls, I think, or the fences maybe you're talking about, are on the west side of the street, enclosing the yards and the county
Yes.
residences.
So that would be the west side of Tut Hill Road.
The road would not go right up to the
Right.
to the walls, if there are the fences, I should say.
Okay. So what is existing now as Tut Hill Road that's used for walking or horses is definitely just a dirt road that runs off of Yuma to the south and runs down to, what is it, on Hilton, I believe it is. And what we're going to approve tonight is actually, as someone said, should have been on the original application when that was brought into the county. And that is nothing but a dirt road that runs south with walls, or some walls at least, along the west side of that road. Is that correct, to your knowledge?
Yes, Councilmember Eustis, that is correct to my knowledge. I just want to point out a couple things if I can.
Sure.
Number one, we're here tonight for the annexation of the roadway only, meaning when the roadway gets built, whose is it to maintain, whose is it to permit, issue the permits for. The road itself, it is needed for, not just to serve this development, but also for city connectivity. It was always intended, and I can just show you real quickly, not only the existing transportation master plan, but the draft that's going to be before you tonight for approval. This stretch, if you follow my cursor here, and on this side here, this is Tut Hill, continuous from Broadway up to Yuma.
Hey, Mr. Mayor,
sorry.
let me interrupt. We can't have people commenting from the public. It messes up our record. So if you could admonish the crowd, just if they want to speak and you want to hear them, you can invite them up, but we can't have them just yelling out from the crowd.
Brian, we could keep it down. That was, the last one was Brian. But point well taken.
Yes, so if you follow my cursor, I'm sorry, I was using it on the wrong screen, but this is Tut Hill currently today. There's a break in it, obviously, currently right where it's moving here, but the intent back to our current transportation master plan was always that it would extend between Broadway and Yuma as an arterial street, which is this color. The new plan actually shows it connecting further north in the future, going from Yuma and curving so it actually hits the Van Buren Street alignment, which will tie back to Verado Way. So all of these streets have been modeled and kind of needed to allow for connectivity throughout the city. So there is that consideration tonight. The only other thing I wanted to mention, Councilmember Eustis, couple speakers, at least one mentioned, why didn't this go to Planning and Zoning Commission? The rezoning, the preliminary plat, all those things did. This is, again, just an annexation of right-of-way, meaning who's going to maintain the roadway in the future. Those are not Planning and Zoning Commission hearing items. This is purely a council requirement. Another resident, I believe, mentioned they didn't get notified. That's because there aren't notification requirements for annexations, because they are purely a jurisdictional matter, meaning they're not approving the road. They're not approving they're only approving which jurisdiction the property is located within. So the annexation itself doesn't really have any impact on adjacent homes, so there's no notification requirement.
If I looked at this correctly today, that property back there is actually owned by Mountain View, is that correct?
Correct. The strips, and I'll go back to this map. Oops. These red strips are owned by Mountain View South LLC, correct?
So all they're asking to do with their own property, their own, not counties or anybody else's, is to have their property annexed as part of their existing property, is that correct?
Correct. They're trying to bring it into the city so they can, instead of going to the county to get permits, they can get the permits from the city.
Okay, because that's something that I highlighted today on some of my notes, that is their property.
Correct.
Exists today.
It is.
Probably from those walls to the east. Is that approximately where those lines are? I mean, as best I could tell.
Yeah, I don't want to speculate too much. I'm not a surveyor. I don't know exactly where that property line is relative to the fences.
I think that's probably my main questions. I thank you very much for your work on this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Eustis. Any other questions from council?
Mr. Mayor, I do.
Councilman Yonker.
Where are we in the development agreement with Mountain View South?
Mayor, council member, I don't believe there is one.
There is no development agreement or anything of that nature of the the rights for moving
Mayor
forward,
and
or
council, no, this was just a straight rezone, so there was no development agreement.
okay, where are we with the plot and all that, the plat with the layout? Where are we at in that process?
Yeah, Mayor, council member, the preliminary plat has been approved several years ago, I think, maybe a year, at least over a year ago by the Planning and Zoning Commission. The final plats are in review. We're waiting to approve them because we want to have this right-of-way annexed so it can include that on the plats. So until this land is in the city, then we would have to modify the plat to take this land out.
So that roadway has not been designed yet, is that correct?
No, I don't believe so, no.
And we're only discussing about the future half-street improvements, correct?
That I would defer.
Be within that plan?
Yeah, I mean, I would expect them to match the city standard for arterial roadway improvements to the utmost degree possible.
Okay. So expand on that a little bit. Typically, we do half-street improvements, so they're half the street to the east.
Yeah.
Not going to leave it just dirt on the other side, are we? Or that would not be the normal plan?
This will be a full street? Yeah. Yeah, so this will be a full street improvement by the developer of Mountain View South,
Okay,
not just the half street.
Okay, that's what I was getting at. So within that development, is there anything that we can do moving forward with putting some of the protections that we put in with, for example, like Copper Falls, to protect those acre parcels from that encroachment to help soften the impact?
Yeah, I think as part of our standard street sections, we're always trying to minimize any impact on adjacent residences. So with regard to light, we try to shield street lights, make sure that they're not spilling over into adjacent residences. As far as
setbacks, buffers, walls.
Yeah, and our standard section does have landscaping in it already. It's accounted for, and that's something that would be developed. Sidewalk certainly as well to kind of buffer the street from the property lines. There's no walls per se in our section. That would be something kind of separately. I know what you're referring to with like the Nirvana Copper Falls projects. That's not something that has been discussed to date.
Okay, I would like for us to make sure we discuss those type of things and make sure that we are doing the best we can to protect both property owners' property rights, because as much as they have a right to the lifestyle that they've become accustomed to, so does the developer has their own property right to build what they need to with the project they're moving forward. But we need to figure out a way to make sure that we mesh those two together and protect it moving forward.
Okay, it would be a future project. Harry, why don't you just say that?
Yeah, John, why don't you?
I'll say something.
Yeah, up here, might as well just do it.
Okay, Mayor, Councilman Yonker, clarification, the west half of Tut Hill is privately owned today by several of the property owners that may all be here, may not all be here. So all this project can do is the east half.
So what's the plan?
We would build the east half today and put two-way traffic, and then at some future city CIP project, we would take care of the
Put
west
the
half.
east half in and put two-way traffic on their
There's
property.
there's enough pavement on the east half of an arterial road to put two-way traffic.
So that would be a center property line, would be the west boundary of the southbound lane, correct?
The west property line
Of their property.
would be not necessarily the edge of pavement, it'd be offset a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have a 10-foot median, 10-foot half median, then 24 feet of pavement, then curb and gutter, so we can actually have it completely offset with half the median away from their property line initially.
Okay.
But hearing what you
Initially.
asked earlier, we could definitely figure out something to soften.
We need to make
the
sure that we
impacts.
do all that we can to soften that impact. It's just the state that we're in, the Arizona crop rotation being cotton alfalfa subdivision. That's just, we have to manage all those things the best that we can. So with that, I yield back. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Councilman Yonker. Vice Mayor.
Yeah, I need Ken, Mr. Galika. So you've alluded a couple of times that if this passes tonight, then we would have control over the road. If this is voted down, there's still a road going in, but it would be county, correct? So
Correct, sir.
this is going to get paved at some point and be a thoroughfare. It's just a matter of if the county's going to have that responsibility or the city of Buckeye is going to have that responsibility.
Yeah, Vice Mayor, correct. And just to go another level beyond that, even if Mountain View South were to go away entirely, whenever anything develops on that property, that would be the expectation.
So to Councilmember Yonker's point, if we vote and this becomes annexed into the city, then we have control over how this develops. And we would be, it would be incumbent upon us to protect those residents that are on the west side of that, correct?
I certainly believe we have more control when we control the process than when we don't.
Right, so if the county does it, the county can do whatever the county wants to do.
We
And
would be
resident.
limited to kind of an advisory capacity, hoping that they took our concerns into account.
So, okay, thank you very much.
Okay, Councilman Berry.
I understand the concerns being born and raised here in Buckeye. My mom was telling me the other day, there's no more back roads. And I said, yeah, Mom, it's just growth. Nothing we can do about it. It's coming and it's here. It's just the way it is. The fact that the landowner already owns the land, and to the point of my two colleagues were saying here, if we annex it, then we can control how the road is put in. If we don't annex it, the county just does whatever they want to do. So in order for this to go in favor of you all, it's best for us to annex it, and we can talk to the developer and say, hey, look, let's move this road over 50 feet to give them the room that they need so they can keep their horses and their cows and run up and down the street and still feel like they're at that homestead, rather than someone else is coming in there and just paving a road down and not really caring about your feelings. So I get what you're saying. I understand the topsy-turvy, there's growth coming, there's going to be cars down my road. But, in the end, it's just the way it is. But what we want to do is it's going to grow, but let us help you help it grow the right way. And so that's why I feel that it's in the best interest of you guys. I mean, the guy already owns the property. He's going to do whatever he wants to do with it. He owns it. So it's in our best interest for us to help with that growth and the way it grows. So the guy owns that property there? He owns that whole piece?
Yes, those red strips that are highlighted that are the reason that we're here tonight are privately owned by the.
Right, and I know you said that, but I want everyone to understand this. Yeah. And the rest of the parcel is already annexed in.
Yeah, everything here is already annexed in, correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Berry. Councilmember Beard.
The two parcels, whether or not if it passes or not, will those, if it does, will those parcels be given to the city?
I understand your question. Mayor, Councilmember Beard, yes, the plan is then to process the final plat, which will create the lots for the subdivision in accordance with the preliminary plat, and then dedicate that right of way, turn it over to the city, yes.
All right, yeah, I just want to mirror what everybody else here has said and just make sure that we work with the developer to do whatever we can to help protect them and their lots with their rights, with their horses and their cows and all that stuff. Whether or not be moving the road over a lot or having the developer build them, making it extra wide or a wall. I just want to make sure that we can work with them to make sure that all of that is done before the road gets started.
And I confirmed just now with John that we'd be happy to work with the residents on the design of the road. Can't promise they'll 100% be on board because there still will be a road there, but we'll do everything we can to minimize the impacts.
So if we ask them to, move the road or make it wider or to build them a wall, and if the developer says no, then that's our chance up here to work into the background and then tell the developer no, right?
Councilmember, I'm sorry, I'm a little hard of hearing. I didn't quite catch all that.
If the Mountain View South if the developer does not want to work with us to build them a wall or move the road, then we could work with them, or we can just tell them no at that point, right? With
I mean, we have to work together to find a way to get a road in there, one way or the other. Again, I just want to stress that this road is very necessary for our transportation system, with or without the Mountain View South project, just because of all the growth that's anticipated in the city, and it's good to have a transportation system with continuous arterial streets. But yes, we will, to the extent possible, work with the residents to minimize the impacts from light and noise or whatever the other concerns are. You know, if there's an ability to make sure that the goats don't get loose, if there's some way to help with that, I'm sure those are discussions that we can have.
all right, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think all the notes that I had, you guys have asked the questions on. We've held a public hearing that's been closed. Any other questions from council? Seeing none, council item 5B, what is your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I will make the motion that we approve agenda item 5B as in boy.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion for approval and a second on item 5B. All in favor, say aye. Aye. And opposed? 5B passes unanimous. Thank you. Appreciate all of the public input also. On to item 5C, council to hold a public hearing and take action on ordinance number 32-25, amending the zoning map of the city of Buckeye for approximately 64.45 acres located at the southwest corner of the Roosevelt Street, future McDowell Parkway, and Rainbow Road alignments from Planned Community PC to Planned Area Development PAD. And Mr. Sean Bonda, you are up.
Mayor, is it okay if I just wait just a moment for the?
Yeah.
No. I know you want to, I know we're anxious to move on. Okay. Well, good evening, Mayor, members of the council. I have before you a rezone to a PAD, Planned Area Development. This project's called Coyote Crest, project PLZZ 25001. Kind of give it an overview, kind of tell you a little bit about the project itself, and I know it was in your packet, and kind of show you a little bit of more detail of what was going on. So the applicant is Alan Bodwin of Norris Design, speaking on behalf of Skyline 62 LLC. The request, as mentioned before, was a rezone from, is a rezone to a PD. It was rezoned from Planned Community, which is currently zoned, to a Planned Area Development, which is PAD for short, and it is located at the southwest corner of Roosevelt Street, which is future McDowell Parkway, and Rainbow Road alignments. The project size is approximately 64 acres. This is kind of giving you that overview of that area. I like to use my little pointer. I don't know if there it is. This is Watson Road here on the west. And then you can see this little dash line. We're going to zoom in here in just a moment. That's McDowell Parkway that goes through there. So it lines up with the Roosevelt alignment. And this is what we call the landing. There's the auxiliary landing field right there. And that's the general plan area that surrounds this area. So I'm showing you a couple of different context maps. It was included in your packet as well, showing the general plan land use map, which is neighborhood for this particular area. And then it shows it to be in the zoning. It shows it to be zone PC. Now the surrounding properties, you can tell, is not annexed. It is actually ADOT remnants. It is Bureau of Land Management that surrounds this property directly to the west. Now on the north side, it is annexed. It is currently a rural property that we all know as Phoenix Skyline West. So the Coyote Crest land use plan, it was developed, actually it was a long time in developing. When it came through initially, the idea was to discuss this, is to do separate zonings. And in fact, when we worked with the applicant, we actually had a great discussion to make it more than that. And our suggestion as staff was to make it a planned area development. That way we had a unifying development. So there's 3 underlying base zonings for this project. And this project has In the development unit 1, which is this little orange piece right here in this corner, the underlying zoning for it, as a baseline for it, is multifamily 1. That's the guiding principle. And what they're doing on that particular area, on that 25 acres, is to develop 275 units. It is going to be a cottage-style development is that we're doing through there. And in the second area, which is development unit 2, which is yellow, right there, the idea is to do single family as a baseline zone, which is going to be R1 or single family 1, and is to do approximately 170 units on the 18 acres. And the final area right here is development unit 3, which is further back than the other ones. And that one's planned to be approximately 456 units on the almost 20 acres. The overall development amongst the three combined is more or less about 14 and a half dwelling units per acre. So it has a combined development density of 14 and a half dwelling units. And then Norris Design created, per staff's request, an illustrative, kind of showing how it lives on the site. This is probably one of my favorite exhibits, is this one down here. This shows the McDowell Parkway right here, knowing that there's a low-density residential on the north side, but because this is a parkway, because it's adjacent to the landing and the need for job growth in this particular area, they're providing to fill a need of diverse housing. So they're not just doing one type of housing, they're doing 3 different types of housing. On this corner here is a cottage-style development. You know, we call it BTR, build to rent, but cottages is a very better way of describing it. Individual units, sometimes creating the individual space. It's a apartment alternative for people. And so they're creating that. In the second area, creating duplex and some triplex style homes. And in the third area, the idea is do more of your traditional garden style walk-up apartments right here. Now, the reason why we asked that, unlike in the area that we're in the landing that we developed, that we're working on, we're pushing the density to the street, creating that area. Here, they're using this as a need to develop different housing, but they're pushing the density to the rear. So they actually are more cognizant of the low density directly across the street. So they're not having 3-story apartments directly across from future or potentially future 1-story low-density residential homes. So that kind of creates that different look throughout here. The other part of this is the infrastructure. Now, anybody who knows this area knows that there's nothing out there at this point in time. You have everything out there is, Vaulton Hall, you have your independent power. So that is something that's in the future. This is a PAD, so this is a idea to create a future plan, and when the infrastructure is created, we will be able to actually move forward with the project. At this point in time, it is just the underlying zoning that we're working on this evening. So they have been in discussions with the school district, working out an agreement specifically, because they're going to be producing up to 901 units according to this PAD. They are fully aware that they have to do utility improvements, and the applicant envisions water mains be extended from Interstate 10 to the property, and the sewer outfall would be going to the existing facilities located in Watson Road. And as far as circulation, and this is kind of the essential through here, there are different points of circulation. It kind of shows in your packet right there. They're going to actually begin the circulation from Watson Road over on the McDowell Parkway with separate access points. Because it is a parkway, they have very limited access. So they'll actually have 2 access points directly from McDowell Parkway, and then they'll have these offshoots that will actually feed down 231st as well as Rainbow on the east. And those will not function as major arterials, but more or less as a collector and local street to help give the access and circulation throughout this project. Now, my favorite part about the PAD, and this is why we asked them to do a PAD, I included the exhibit kind of after. Let me see if I can show you guys. I know, I promise to keep this short. But this was my favorite thing, is they created unifying details. And this is just a mere example of what they were talking about. From signage, taking advantage of the desert. So they call it cottages at coyote crest, and they have the full coyote. They have the ears of the coyote, the paws of the coyote. They have unifying landscaping theming, path and trail throughout this entire project. So that's something you wouldn't get if we did this as 3 individual projects, but unifying the 3, creating an overall vision for this, not only gives the city assurances that they're going to develop in a certain sense, but they're going to develop with this overall theming and pattern and taking advantage of some of those flexibilities that the PAD creates. For the most part, they are actually being more restrictive than the zoning allows. And this is, I should have touched on this earlier. Oops. But right here on this one here, for example, in Development Unit 1, which is the cottages, they're actually reducing the height that's allowed. They're allowed to do 50 feet on the baseline zoning. They're saying, hey, we're not going to go above 30. We're trying to be sensitive to the adjacent properties. And in the multifamily 2, which allows for unlimited height, because that is the highest density of multifamily we create, they says, hey, we're not going to go taller than 50 feet tall. So with that being said, Mayor, members of the council, I can answer the questions that you have, but staff has taken this to commission and they have approved it and have made recommendation to you to move forward this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Bond. Item 5C requires a public hearing, so we will open a public hearing. Are there any speaker requests for agenda item 5C?
Requests.
No speaker requests. Anybody from the public wishing to speak on 5C? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing. Council, questions on 5C? I'm seeing none. Council, 5C, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve agenda item 5C as in Charles.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve agenda item 5C. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? And 5C passes unanimous. On to item 5D, council take action on resolution number 100-25, declaring as public record the Buckeye Housing Needs Assessment and Action Plan and approving and adopting the same by reference. Ms. Andrea Marquez.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Andrea Marquez, Senior Planner with the City of Buckeye. Tonight, the City of Buckeye has undertaken a housing needs assessment and an action plan to better understand our current housing conditions and guide our future policy decisions. This effort combines data analysis, community engagement, and implementation strategies to ensure that Buckeye's growth remains inclusive and that the housing is affordable for residents across all income levels. So tonight, I'll give you a quick overview. We're going to touch on some key findings from the housing needs assessment, summarize what we have heard from the community, and then walk through the action plan recommendations and immediate next steps. Matrix has presented this to council through a workshop in detail previously, so I'm just going to be hitting on highlights and focus on where do we go from here. This housing needs assessment and action plan, it fulfills a state requirement under Senate Bill 1162, and it is also a standing council strategic goal. The assessment looked at demographics, market demand, and existing housing stock, while the action plan translates those results into strategies and funding tools. So this gives us a roadmap moving forward. So just quickly, in plain language, what is a housing needs assessment? In simple terms, a housing needs assessment tells us who lives here in Buckeye, what can they afford, and what types of housing are actually available. It identifies where supply doesn't match real demand, and especially for our seniors, our renters, our workforce housing, our households. And as you saw, most of this already in the workshop, so I just want to show some more data and highlight those. And here are some of our findings. Our key demographics. As we know, Buckeye continues to grow very rapidly, but our housing supply hasn't diversified at the same pace. So we do have a strong home ownership and a modern housing stock, but costs have been rising, especially for renters. And we're also seeing pressure in the rural market and a gap between types of housing that people need versus what we actually have available. And a lot of that is tied to earnings and affordability. So worker earnings versus household income. So if incomes are rising, why is housing still a problem? So this slide here tells us that income in Buckeye, as you can see, is rising, but mostly because households are combining incomes, not because individual wages are increasing at the same pace. While household incomes in Buckeye have increased significantly since 2017, individual worker earnings have grown much more slowly. So what this means is many households are relying on multiple incomes to keep up with the rising housing costs. So as housing prices and rents increase, affordability becomes more challenging for single income households, seniors, entry-level workers, just reinforcing the need for a range of housing types and price points. So as mentioned, Buckeye has a larger ownership demographic. So he was struggling. So over half, the slide up above shows over half of the renters in the region, including for MAG, spend more than 30% of their income on housing. So Buckeye is a little better positioned, but we still have a significant number of households who are cost burdened. So that ties directly to the need for affordable and attainable housing products. So the 30% benchmark is widely used housing affordability standard established by HUD. A household is considered housing cost burden and when it spends more than 30% of its gross household income on housing. So for renters, that includes rent plus utilities. And for homeowners, this includes mortgage, property taxes, insurance, utilities, and HOA fees. So when households exceed the 30% threshold, they have less income available for essential needs, such as food, healthcare, transportation, and childcare. Households spending more than 50% of income on housing are considered severely cost burdened, indicating a higher risk of housing instability. So let's look how the market is responding. The multifamily is surpassing single family in the Phoenix metropolitan statistical area across the region back in 2023, which is the first time that has happened. So that really reflects on how the market is adjusting. More rental demand, more density, and a broader mix of housing products are entering into the pipeline. So we are also seeing that locally as well. Here I wanted to highlight, is Buckeye different? Are we building different than the region? This slide shows that Buckeye has actually stayed, compared to the data in our plan, has stayed pretty steady in the single-family residential construction housing product. And we're still gradually adding more multifamily. So that mix helps us with housing variety, and it also gives us some more options for different income levels and lifestyles. So I also just want to highlight, before I switch to the next slide, in 2024, multifamily construction was up 10% in Buckeye. So looking at the slide before you, regionally, the rents have peaked during the pandemic and then came down as new units entered the market. So for Buckeye, the main takeaway is that while prices have moderated, we still have households who are priced out or cost burdened, especially in certain income ranges. And just a note, our Buckeye median asking rent third quarter of 2025 is around $1,600.
Andrea, is that just for multifamily, or does that include single-family homes that are for rent?
I would say, so this is from the CoStar Group. I would not know. I don't know that much detail. If it includes both rental, like single family and multifamily.
Okay, thank you.
So we need to touch on housing vacancy. Vacancy was higher here for a while because we delivered a lot of new units all at once. But it's been trending closer to regional averages as the market absorbs these units. So what we're seeing right now is more of a temporary effect while new properties lease up. So Buckeye housing vacancy was higher than the Phoenix MSA, but now it matches the region. So in 2013, we had a 20%, 2014 to 2018, we had a 13% vacancy. Our numbers are starting to balance out. 2019 and 2023, it's at 8%. Okay, bear with me on this slide here. It's a lot of information. So what I wanted to bring and go over is the Buckeye household size and then household income distribution. And this really helps us understand our housing needs for Buckeye. So household size trends here in Buckeye, average household is 3.11, which is higher than the state and national norms, reinforcing that we are family-oriented in character for the city of Buckeye. Two-person household are the largest share at 34%, followed by a three-person, 18%, and four-person, 14%. That means nearly 20% of households have 5 or more persons, indicating demand for larger units and more bedrooms. Which is really, it's not surprising, but it also shows not only do we need smaller units, workforce units, but we also need larger types of housing as well. And this is good information to have in our study for developers when they refer over to our housing action plan. I also wanted to bring up owner versus renter differences. So owners are slightly higher in households, which is 3.13. Renters are 2.99. So renters show more 1 to 2 person households at 44%, showing us that we need smaller, affordable rental units. And larger households at 5+ persons are predominantly owners supporting demand for larger single-family, family-oriented housing. So then we're going to look at the income. 67% of all Buckeye households earn above $75,000. Among renters, only 56 earn above $75,000, 26 earn $50,000 or less. So that's just a clear indicator of affordability pressure. And owners show higher incomes overall, with 69 above $75,000 and a median above $100,000. So renter median incomes at $85,000, lower than the owners, but still above regional rent norms, indicates a relatively higher income renters, but constrained by limited supply and rising rents. So this just shows the need for rental options. We need rental options affordable to the 50 to 75,000 income range. So the implications for the Housing Action Plan, again, just these numbers here on this slide show demand for both smaller rental units and larger 3 to 4 bedroom units. We need affordable, attainable rentals for lower income households, and we also need entry-level ownership for moderate income families. So Buckeye's larger household sizes and higher income support diverse housing types, but highlight the importance of workforce and affordable housing. So part of the Housing Action Plan, we do community engagement, and we had significant public participation, which confirms the study's findings and highlights. And when we asked about priorities, the majority of respondents wanted to see more senior housing options and just more variety overall, and not just single family. So there was concerns also focused on affordability and utilities, as well as the ability of younger residents to stay in Buckeye long-term. The Housing Action Plan. So what is the Housing Action Plan? So now, looking at all of that data and doing that assessment, so everything that we learned from that assessment turns into strategies that the city can implement. So this is really that bridge from analysis to action, policy tools, funding mechanisms, and program options that help us respond to the data and what the community told us. So this leads us to the key strategies of areas in our plan. The catalytic development areas. The plan had identified 6 strategies. The first one is the catalytic, which is the downtown Buckeye specific area plan, and then also the landing were identified as near-term opportunity areas where mixed use and infill development can help diversify housing types and show some sort of all these concepts. Sean's was also a good segue of the different types of housing that developer can propose to the city. Due diligence assistant. Early staff-led reviews to help identifying zoning, infrastructure, and site constraints. We can, as a city, before that formal submittal, reducing any risk and uncertainty. We can also provide, as a city, density incentives to allow additional units beyond the base zoning in exchange for public benefits, such as mixed-use development, attainable or affordable housing, or community amenities. We can also look into waiver of reduction of development-related fees, which are basically targeted fee reductions to lower upfront development costs for projects that meet housing affordability and attainability goals. And also reimbursement of development impact fees, which is post-construction reimbursement of eligible impact fees for qualifying housing projects to improve financial visibility. Some other strategies in our Housing Action Plan is our development code updates. So, Council recently approved our development code back in October council meeting. So with the development code updates adopted, we now have more flexibility and clearer direction around approvals, densities, and parking, and also continue streamlining, which will help reduce delays, improving predictability as projects move forward. Another important tool in increasing small-scale options is accessory dwelling units. So pre-approved ADUs offer low-cost, flexible options for seniors, caregivers, and younger adults. Pre-approved designs could help reduce review time and allow families to create additional housing options on their existing property. We also looked at tools that help renters and buyers directly. So, and that's the down payment assistance. Partnering with state programs like Arizona Department of Housing and Home Consortium through MAG allows the city to help first-time buyers bridge that affordability gap. These efforts directly support local workforce families who wish to plant long-term roots in Buckeye. We've also have an opportunity to utilize our Human Services Division. So the plan also recommends strengthening eviction prevention and rental assistance programs, plus services for seniors and people with disability. So this is really about housing stability as well as housing production. So as we consider implementation, development services can continue focusing on codes and development, while human services can focus on direct resident support. So with all of that, give me a moment. Our implementation approach. On this slide, we're outlining how the city plans to move forward with implementing the Housing Action Plan. The approach is primarily staff-led, with council providing overall guidance and policy direction. Council will provide clear policy direction on housing by sharing priorities, perspectives, and guidance that help focus and inform efforts. So tonight, formally, we hope to adopt the Housing Action Plan to serve as the guiding framework for future housing policies and initiatives. And some of the staff-led actions that we are currently doing, as I mentioned, we updated our zoning, our development code. We continuously evaluate existing incentives and explore new incentive programs to promote homeownership, support the development of diverse range of housing types that will address any gaps in the city's inventory. And the city will continue to collaborate with MAG within our internal departments, and then also nonprofits such as Habitat for Humanity to advance housing initiatives. And with that, I say thank you, and I'm available for any questions.
Okay, thank you, Andrea. Council questions on item 5D? I'm seeing no questions. Andrea, how often do we update this plan?
So the Housing Action Plan, according to the state statute, is updated every 5 years. And we are currently, there's also another state bill that we have to do our housing needs assessment update every year. So we have one due in January.
The two, as we work this housing action plan, we should see improvements in the housing needs over the next few years. So, and then we can react to that in 5 years when we update this. And these two really work together. We gather the information from the housing needs assessment and then create a strategy to implement policies and everything that you've just gone over here so that we can grow we can meet those housing needs moving forward.
Mayor and council, that was perfectly said. You could have done my presentation in 3 minutes.
That's untrue. Nobody can do your presentation. Okay, then item 5D, council, unless you have any other questions, what's your pleasure on this?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve agenda item 5D as in David.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on item 5D. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? And 5D passes unanimous. I know that's one thing that we continue to talk about as a state, and we had a visit with the governor's office just this last Friday, and that was one of the things that she had brought up is housing and housing bills that are coming our way. So it continues to be a major topic of conversation. Okay, we'll move on to item 5E. Council take action on resolution number 98-25, approving the lease purchase agreement between the Buckeye Police and Motorola Solutions, Inc. for the purchase and financing of Motorola System Solutions, authorizing city manager to execute the agreement on behalf of the city of Buckeye and authorizing the city manager or his designee to execute documents and perform reporting requirements associated with the financing portion of the agreement. Chief Bob Sanders, you are presenting.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Bob Sanders, like you said, I'm with Deputy Chief Chuck Bazzaio over here. I'm going to lay a little bit of the foundation, why we're here, how we got here, and then he's going to do the technical part, explain how he negotiated this deal and researched it. I think it's real important that I take us back about 10 years and 2 months. I stood right here and I asked permission, council approval for our first body cam program. Well, technology has changed a lot in 10 years. We all know that. There's something called artificial intelligence. And so 10 years, it's been a great investment. It's proven that our officers are highly professional, and it's increased our operational efficiency. So about a year and a half ago, our body camera contract expired, and so we started exploring other different body cams out there. Now, 4 years ago, we realized that our records management system and our computer-aided dispatch, which we're going to call CAD and RMS, it'd been here for 20 years. It was getting near end of life, and we had to do something about it. And it wasn't really meeting our needs as far as data movement and intelligence sharing. So 4 years ago, we brought several vendors in, had them tell us about their products, how they can help us be efficient, how they can lay the foundation for Buckeye PD to move into the future. Unfortunately, the vendors would come in and they would say, well, we're good at dispatching, we're good at records management, we're good at evidence management, but none of them could offer the whole package. So we were a little frustrated because it's very expensive and it's very highly work intensive for our IT people and our officers. So how do we make our officers the most efficient, the end users? So all these meetings, we had 5 different vendors, probably 20 meetings. All these meetings included our end users. I don't type reports for a living. I sign off on budgets. All right, I deal with personnel issues. So we made sure our dispatchers, our detectives, our officers, and our sergeants were involved in the decision-making. So about 2.5 years after that, we decided, and thanks to Commander McBride and Deputy Chief Bazzaio, they put a work group together and they decided, well, let's keep the program that we have. Let's save the cost of implementing a new system. And also at the same time, our current vendor was upgrading it to the cloud base. So there was an opportunity for us. I referred earlier that our body camera contract had expired. And so we had an opportunity to explore, is there some alternatives out there? About a year ago, we explored, we tested a current body camera for Motorola. It didn't meet our needs. It moved us closer to one ecosystem, one seamless integration of all our records management and our computer-aided dispatch and how it ties into our real-time information center. A lot of agencies call it the real-time crime center. And what's coming now? Drone as a first responder. So how does all this tie in? And so working with IT and our officers and our end users, we tried the body cameras, the last version of the Motorola. Then they came out with a new version, and that's this one here that also acts as a microphone. It ties into artificial intelligence. It connects to our radios that we currently have, and it also works with our computers and our records management and our dispatcher. So it creates this atmosphere of one single pane, as Greg Platez will refer to as our real-time crime center. Can we put all our information into one single pane so we have operational efficiency? So with that in mind, we wanted to make sure, number one, we were protecting our citizens, safety of the community, safety of our officers, operational efficiency, and was there an opportunity for fiscal responsibility? Could we do something to save the city money? And also lay us a foundation to move us into the future. So that's how we got here tonight. A lot of research went into it and a lot of time and effort. We wanted to make sure that we positioned ourselves for the future. So our overview, our objective is to establish a unified, seamless technology ecosystem. In the past, what would happen for police departments is somebody would come in a best in class, or hey, we like this for dispatch, we like this for evidence management, look at this body camera system, but they never tied in together. I'm going to speak like a cop. I have to have a password to get to my passwords. So we have an officer out in the field that's not operationally efficient. They have to toggle back and forth, drag and click, bring all this evidence together. So was there an opportunity for us to create something unique in the police world and have one system that ties everything in together? So if a citizen calls in, an officer types a report, a piece of evidence is impounded, a body camera video is uploaded, it all ties in together and nobody has to touch it. So we wanted to integrate our communications data and our real-time awareness to improve our efficiency. And this goes along with being innovative, promote public safety, and improve the quality of life for our citizens and including our employees. So I referred to the 4-year review. That's how we got here. Our people and culture. Our culture is who we are. We're innovative. We want to make sure we're forward-thinking and we're early adopters. So we have this 2040 vision. If you heard me in the past few years, I was speaking of public safety 2030. Well, now we're to 2040. How are we going to lay the foundation? And a lot of that has to do with technology and artificial intelligence. We have the capabilities and the technology to tie all this information in because pretty much officers are data brokers. We're our inside internal data brokers. In working with Greg and IT, we're coming up with a strategic plan. How do we fiscally, responsibility, position us for the future? That's a foundation. Now, Deputy Chief Bazile is going to tell you the details of how we got here and why we recommend this to create the future for the Buckeye PD.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm excited to present this tonight to you all to see the advances that Buckeye Police Department is going to make with this program. Just to kind of touch on some of what the Chief stated, our current operating body-worn camera is a baseline system. Basically, it does the collection of digital evidence out there of recording what's happened and transpiring out on the roadway. It puts in a digital evidence management system and allows us to share that with the prosecutor's office or whatever, along with our reports and everything else. The challenges with it are that it does do some transcription, has limited redaction when it comes to public record, and of course, we get public record requests, we have to release video. We have to do a lot of redaction. That's a lot of work on our record section and whatnot to redact it. So we were looking for a solution for that as well. It does have unlimited storage, but it again has some complications with some third-party data storage. And it does also have an AI generator narrative. It works off the transcription, it gets on body-worn cameras, and generates a rough draft of a narrative for a report that an officer can then go through and touch up and add more detail. But the current system does not, interface with our real-time information center or our Vista 911 radio communications or our current computer-aided CAD system or records management system. This required us to seek software vendors to fill those gaps to obtain this better solution of a united system. So we started this out with identifying vendors that actually had the ability to provide the resources we need, or the integration that we needed to take our current systems and kind of connect them together. In doing so, we attended a lot of different conferences and things to see what different vendors were out there. And after an exhaustive review process, we came down to 2 vendors, which are our current service provider and Motorola. In evaluating these systems, we wanted to see what each one provided in reviewing system capabilities and demonstrations, what their systems offered and what their hardware looked like and how durable and how sophisticated their programs were. We did this through a number of demonstrations. We went to different ones, and we looked at references, both that were provided by Motorola as well as their competitor, to see what were the pros and cons. We wanted a good, clean picture of what we were dealing with. Again, we had end users testing and evaluating the cameras as they came out, and as the chief stated, the earlier camera it didn't meet all of our needs. It was okay, but it wasn't anything that kind of really improved upon what we had. However, Motorola had developed a newer camera that had a lot more advances to it and AI and whatnot, and added as the mic. So that being the case, we selected Motorola as being a more comprehensive package as a technology platform best suited for the Buckeye Police Department. The Unified just to talk about some of the elements of what exactly the Motorola system looks like. Again, the Apex radio would come with this program, and that's an upgrade from what we currently have. It is the state-of-the-art latest in portable radios. It has such functions as an easy touch screen on the front of it. I can kind of show you mine. It has a large touch screen on the front of it for easy operation and manual control. It has GPS location, so the officers will actually be able to see in the real-time crime center where our officers are on scenes, which is great for major scenes, major incidents that we have to respond to. We can actually see that on this radio as well as in the real-time crime center, allowing us to better coordinate. And it has Smart Connect, which is basically it can go between two-way radio, which is standard to digital radio, to a LTE cellular communication, whichever signal is stronger. Therefore, the lifeline for the officer communicating with fellow officers, as well as dispatch, isn't broken, which is a tremendous officer safety aspect. Along with this next generation radio, we get the SVX body-worn camera, which is way advanced. Like I said, it operates as both a BWC or body-worn camera, as well as Bluetooth microphone for this radio system. So there's no need for two devices, a separate mic and a separate body-worn camera, which a lot of our officers use now. It has quality rugged construction, and it also has Vicky, which is what they call it's kind of their Alexa, where you can push it and it can do things like translation from different foreign languages, so the officer can speak into it and it'll translate it for the citizen and vice versa. So it opens up a lot of communication with our public. It also will allow them to tag videos, read driver's licenses and run those and do those types of additional features. So it has a lot of different functions. Lastly, just touch one last thing, is the changeable battery. This one has a changeable battery. Our current one does not. You have to charge it up, and if you're running at the end of your shift and your power's low, you got to take it out and dock it and get it charged. That causes problem in continuity of running our body-worn cameras. This one, you just swap out the battery and you can continue on if you run in a late shift or you had a big scene where the camera was operating a lot. We also included in this program the M500 in-car video system, which is a 3-camera system in the vehicle itself that watches for the front dash, the back of the car, and even the cabin records. If we have a prisoner back there or subject back there, it'll record what happens, what's said, and that sort of thing to protect our agency and make sure that we're transparent to our public should anything arise. And also it enhances our investigations with the front camera for DUI or impaired driving or traffic violations, allows for a better investigation and a more solid prosecution. It incorporates a license plate reader with real-time alert, which means we're driving around and you have a stolen vehicle and it reads the plate. We can be alerted to that right away along with our real-time crime center so that they can, again, coordinate efforts before initiating a high-risk stop or anything along that line with the vehicle. And let's see, and it also comes with a wireless router in the vehicle so that will automatically upload the videos that we saved. That'll automatically go through LTE into the cloud database, digital evidence manager. On top of all that, it comes with an abundance of software that is the Command Central Suite. Command Central Suite is made up with Command Central Aware, which is the RTIC, Real-Time Information Center hub, where all these maps for our cameras, our license plate readers, our officers, our calls, all this thing comes onto one pane of glass, as the chief had said. Our DEMS is the Digital Evidence Management System, which also does all the current features that we have, but on top of that, it has a more robust redaction system, and it offers transcription, not just for what's on the body-worn camera, but what was said on the radio, what was said on 911. All these things can be combined to assist with the artificial intelligence generating a rough draft report. So that makes it more comprehensive for the officer and less time-consuming and cuts down administrative work. And it has Command Central Community, which is more for engagement with the community and transparency with the community. This offers some crime mapping features that citizens can see what crimes are happening in their neighborhood. That's kind of scrubbed. It doesn't have the specific details, but it'll tell them where there's burglaries or car thefts, that sort of thing in their neighborhood, so they can be more aware. It allows for tip submission if they know something's going on in their neighborhood. And additionally, it allows for us to do public information notices, crime bulletins, things like that, trends that we can identify and provide to the public to help prevent crime. So there's crime prevention piece. And lastly is the Flex CAD subscription, which the chief already talked about, is more of a cloud-based subscription compared to what we have now, where it'll allow for more security and better, faster updates and more storage and a lot more functionality. So that's kind of what the package all encompasses. So by looking at the Motorola as our ecosystem, we have a single vendor integration with the radios, cameras, and such, the AI-driven automation, operational efficiency, community transparency, future ready, which means we can add more things to it as Motorola continues to bring on new products, increase it. And it also includes, this is a big aspect of it, includes that APX Next portable radio, which we were already moving toward, but we did not do it at this point. We're buying them incrementally. This way we get them up front and can go through having all of our officers have this great technology. So the summary of the equipment involved in this contract, we would receive 175 APX radios, 175 SBX body-worn cameras, which would outfit all of our sworn personnel. We would receive 90 units, the M500 in-car video systems, which will equip all of our patrol vehicles, our traffic service vehicles, and our transport vehicles. It gives us the platform for our real-time information center, and it gives digital evidence management, plus programs with AI, and a CAD and community suite package. So we can now talk operationally. It was pretty clear that Motorola was probably the best option was definitely the best option for the Buckeye Police Department. Looking at the aspects as far as the cost, we looked at a couple options that were offered by our current service provider. One is a little lower in cost with the $982,000 annually, but the problem is that they don't offer. Their additional cost was involved in providing a vehicle with the cameras and digital cameras in the vehicles. So that considerably added to the price. So over a 5-year contract, by bundling their services and adding the in-car camera, it was $6.23 million for a 5-year contract. Option 2, which is more comparable to the Motorola package that's being offered, the bundle they have, would also be a $6.27 million 5-year contract. And Motorola, their bundle is, yes, $1,000,066 thousand annually. However, that does include the in-car system, and it also includes the APX radios, which the APX radios alone are about $2 million to buy them all out for the 175. So their 5-year contract would be $5.33 million, indicating it's a more physically responsible or physical choice as well. Motorola savings, about $933,000 versus the current provider. Additionally includes the 175 APXs, the 90 M500s, the full RTIC and CAD integration for a total price of $5.33 million for a 5-year contract. In conclusion, Motorola Unified Platform enhances officer safety, operational awareness, community trust. Our recommendation is to approve the Motorola Solutions contract to become the foundational ecosystem vendor for the Buckeye Police Department. And on that, any questions?
Okay, great presentation. Thank you for going so in-depth on that. I had an opportunity to chat just a little bit last week with Chief on some of the details of this and really understand how complex it is, all of the different things that you guys have, either feeding information or creating information, and how all that interfaces, and the difficulty in that. So having one provider that ties all that stuff together, and one person that you call to when you have an issue or something's not talking to something else, but I can see it as an exceptional value. And not only that, it's much less expensive. So good on y'all for all the homework you've done on this.
Thank you, Mayor. It was definitely a team effort to get everybody involved and make sure we included a lot of the end users that were affected by it, to include IT, our prosecutors' offices, and all of our departments that be impacted by this ecosystem. So it was a joint effort to review it and make sure this was the right choice for our agency.
Yep, great. And it looks like a kind of a force multiplier and a time saver, as you're able to show a license to your body cam, have it run the license without having to run all the way back to the car. And I mean, just all of the potential with this, it's brilliant. So thank you for going through the process.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember, I got to stop calling you Vice Mayor, at least for a while here. My other Vice Mayor is going to get upset.
Couple of questions for you.
Yes, sir.
What interests me is the fact that I look at you and I don't see any wires coming from your microphone up here down to your radio and all the other wires and things we used to wear.
Yep. Currently, there's a lot of Bluetooth options you can buy out there that connect to this particular unit, but you would have to get a separate body-worn camera. In this case, it's both. So it's phenomenal, Councilman, to have them both united and keep that real estate for other equipment and things like that. If you ever seen the officers out there on the road, they have a lot of gear on them. So
Keep somebody from grabbing it, too. You have, is this equipment, can it be monitored by citizens? Or is it going to be off the line?
no, it'll be offline. It is secured by so anything for the citizens would be a public record request that we could then generate the video and the report for them.
There won't be any
upon
more
request.
monitoring police radios as much?
No.
Or having people know where you're at and what you're doing. If you wanted to increase the number of units, say you increase your department by 5 or 10, can you buy these in groups of like a package deal? Do they sell a package of 12 at a time, or do you have to buy each unit separately? How does something like that work with Motorola?
We can get additional, I've spoken to Motorola about this, so if we get, additional staffing as we grow over the next 5 years, we would be able to bring on more cameras and things at the same price that we currently are paying for the group rate. So we'd be able to expand it in groups. We'd probably buy 10 to 20 at a time and kind of expand it that way. And I had conversations with Motorola to that regard, Councilman Tubb.
And if you save about $1 million in some operational numbers, that's approximately 6 police officers, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that pretty nice savings?
Yes, it would.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Councilman Eustace. Any other questions?
I have a question about it. The AI, how sophisticated is it? Is it facial recognition? Is it weapons recognition? Is it communicative? How far is that going?
Right now, the Motorola thing is not a weapon. It is not facial recognition. We haven't employed that effort yet. I know that's something that Motorola is looking at for development maybe in the future. We would definitely review that and see if that's something the public has particular issue with, but that would be something we'd look into. But yeah, it does do things like it's projected to start reading driver's licenses and doing automatic running of people, license plates and those types of things. So it's going to be doing some recognition of those items.
Yeah, that's cool. We live in the future. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd be remiss if I didn't provide a comment. My grandmother worked for Motorola back in the 60s. The Motorola guys in the back. And she used to joke that her fingerprints are on the moon. She plugging circuits into one of the lunar landers. But so kudos on you guys for doing a bunch of great work, as I would expect. And agree, I think having all of this technology combined where it's talking to each other not only saves time and money, but I think is a much safer option for you and the public. So great work to all of you.
Thank you.
Okay, if no other comments, item 5E, council, what is your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve agenda item 5E as in Edward.
Second.
I have a motion for approval of 5E in a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And opposed? 5E passes unanimous. Thank you, Police Department. Item 5F, council take action on the Buckeye 2025 Transportation Master Plan. I'm not going to read through all that. John Willett, you're going to present a very quick presentation to us.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have all the cool props that PD had up here. You just have to listen to my soothing voice while I talk for a little while.
Oh, boy.
Pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty bad. I know. Yeah, my name is John Willett. I'm the Deputy Director of Transportation in the Program Management Office. I was told in the back to keep this. You're allowed 3 minutes a slide. I go, perfect. I only have 20 slides, so that is not my presentation. It said.
This is part of the 3 minutes.
TMP, that's mine. I can't read. I'm slideshow from the beginning. Yes, now we're going. Okay. If you all, some of you may recall when we did this, brought this to you in 2019, the first Transportation Master Plan was updated. It was based on all the approved CMPs. And when I say approved, council-approved CMPs in Buckeye, that was our baseline for starting this entire project the first time. So why are we updating this? Well, because there's been some changes to the land use plan particularly. If you remember up and down the SR85 corridor, that's more of an employment base now. Things have happened in other parts of the city. Change it to the adopted roadway network. I mean, how many lanes we want out there. Change it to the connectivity, modify the truck route guidance, and we've also had the completion of the city's bike and pet master plan was completed within about 3 or 4 months or adopted after the original TMP in 2019. So why do these changes matter? One, we want to create the right size roadway network. And the key thing with our TMP, and you'll hear me say it a few times, but not too many because I got to keep this less than 5 minutes, is this is a living document. It gets updated every 5 to 6 years. Things change. We need to make and reflect those changes in the TMP. Some of those things are getting the roadways right. How do we apply for MAG funding? Communicate with developers. So it is a roadmap for both the city and the development community on what we need to move people, goods around the city of Buckeye. So what was involved? I can go all through these, but you kind of see the idea. We started at the beginning, reviewed stuff, did some updating, public survey, talked to a lot of residents, talked to several developers. One thing we added, I hope I don't mess this up. Yes, the wildlife corridor chapter is how do we integrate and make sure our roadway network accounts for our little four-legged friends. And so we avoid the animal vehicle conflicts and provide some guidance, not some rules. Again, this is guidance on how to make sure we provide for safe passage of vehicles over an area and animals across the roadway. And then finally, the last button up there is how do we get some money to build all this stuff? Because I don't have 20 bucks in my pocket to pay for everything, and I'm sure nobody else in here does. I can pass around a can, so you guys can all chip in a little bit. So again, right-size roads. Make sure we get them all done right. We want to make sure we reflect everything that's been in an approved CMP. We know for a fact that Teravalis is coming in with the revised CMP. Grandview's looking at doing something. Elianto's looking at doing something. They've given us comments and asked us, hey, can you incorporate our roadway network we're proposing into your TMP? And I had to tell them no, because it's not city council approved yet. So the compromise was this thing down here. Again, this is a living document. And what we actually put in this TMP is verbiage that states, if a CMP comes forward to council, goes through the P&Z process and council and is adopted, and it has a revised roadway network, that roadway network by approval becomes automatically an appendix to this TMP. So when we update this in the future, that becomes an automatic baseline to where we start. And so we worked with the developers, came up with, I wouldn't say 110% agreement, but a nod of the head saying, okay, we can live with that. We understand that gives us the flexibility to bring our stuff in the future. Key changes that have happened. Sun Valley Parkway, one, we've taken over it, it's our road. Two, most important, is it had the designation of a parkway. It was supposed to be, if you've been around long enough, a true parkway, which had no full-blown intersections. And when I say full-blown intersections, I'll give the example of Yuma and Watson. 3 lanes, turning movements, left turn lanes, all that stuff. You were supposed to go technically across the crossroad, up, flip a U-ey in the big fat median and come back and make your right turn. That was intent. The ship has sailed on Sun Valley Parkway, and I mean it in a good way. We have things at Tartesso that has their intersections at Thomas and Sun Valley Parkway. We have things coming in Teravalis. We have the 2 signals currently at Festival. So trying to convert those to this concept of no left turns but making U-turns was just not going to work. So we have changed Sun Valley Parkway, what we're calling now a principal arterial, which is 4 lanes in each direction. We have to move a lot of cars up and down Sun Valley Parkway. We have no choice. So that's one thing. I-11 has changed. It's a little farther west. It doesn't go through the middle of Teravalis. It's more on the western boundary, so we changed that. And several other roads were changed from parkways to principal arterials, or actually just to a regular major arterial, because the projected traffic volumes on those roads were smaller than the previous TMB projected. So what is the final product? This is the cover. It is an update. We have an atlas that will be provided so people don't have to read through the 700, 800 pages of this document. There's an atlas that shows the quick reference maps that'll be available to people. And with that, I will gladly answer 2 questions since we all want to get out of here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Willett. Council, any questions? I'm not seeing any questions. So council, what is your pleasure on item 5F?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve item 5F as in Frank.
Second.
I have a motion to approve agenda item 5F and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? 5F passes unanimous. Item number 6, comments from mayor and council. Any comments tonight? I'm not seeing any. On to item.
Mr. Mayor, I have one real quick. I just want to say, recognize our city attorney, Mr. McCoy. This is his last official council meeting in this capacity, in my understanding. Thank you for all your hard work, and I think that from my time on the council that if I was to say one decision was the biggest, most impactful thing that we've done moving forward has been your hiring and the creation of the city attorney department so that we have the best interests of Buckeye at heart. So thank you for all your hard work, sir.
Yeah, well said, Councilmember Vice Mayor.
Ditto.
Same way here.
Yep. I feel like we should do maybe a group hug or something right now.
We still all disagree with your poor life choices, but here we are.
Awkward silence. Okay, yep, well said, all of you. Item number 7, city manager's report and summary of current events.
Thank you, Mayor, and members of the council. This past weekend, we had 2 very successful events. One was Wreaths Across America at our cemetery. I don't have the specifics on it, but I know it was extremely well attended and raised money for it. That'll be coming in this week's city manager report, but I wanted to mention that. And then on Glow in Monroe, we had over 10,000 spectators line Monroe to watch 75 parade entries with over 100 vehicles. I want to thank the CSD team for another successful event, and I want to also give a special thank you to our public Works team for taking that extra effort to spell check their vehicle this year. That was a really great thing. And then finally, not only is it Mr. McCoy's last meeting, it is our last meeting of the year. So I wanted to wish all of you, as well as our staff in the city, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, to update his report, 532 people attended Wreaths Over America.
Wow, that's awesome.
They expected it to take about an hour to put all the reefs out. They were done in 15 minutes.
Yep, very good stuff. It was a great weekend in Buckeye. On to item number 8, proposal for future agenda items. Any from council? Not seeing any. Item number 9, with nothing else on the agenda, we are adjourned.